California coastline, midday Texas sun, misty rain in the Smoky Mountains, out here on the run.
Hey guys, we're back here today at the farm. Just got off work. Thought I'd head over here and I gotta get my skid steer and stuff loaded up for the big brush hogging job this weekend. But what do you know, as soon as I get here, a storm follows me in. Yeah. It's a little bit wet out there now. So hopefully it's just a quick little shower. It's been like a heat index of 108, 105 this week. So a little bit of rain won't hurt. Maybe it'll help cool things down a little bit. Maybe this weekend it won't be so bad brush hogging. So I was going to get my skid steer out, hopefully when it quits here, and I was going to go ahead and do a little review type thing, walk around of my Wolverine brush cutter. It's probably been one of the best things that I've purchased so far as what I've used the most, I guess. It wasn't something that I really thought I would use that much, or people would have that much interest in something like that, but it has really taken off. So I'm going to do a quick checkup on it before we got a pretty big brush hogging job. Got about roughly, I don't remember exactly the numbers, but it's well over 10 acres. A lot of fence line, clearing around the barn, some driveways. The farmer's going to be putting in a new fence sometime this fall, so we're going to try and go around his existing property where he's going to be putting his fence, where his old fence is, and try to do a little bit of work getting it cleaned up for the fence builders to come in late this fall. We're going to be moving 30 head of cattle in there, so I'm probably going to throw a quick sharpen on the blades. I'll flip the deck down up in the air and get it to where you guys can see. Like I said, it's a Wolverine, and it has the blade set up on it. Everybody dreads when they buy them, just like the JCT brand. But the Wolverine seems to be a little bit heavier made so far. I've hit some pretty good stuff with it. Aside from the gearbox, the bolts had rattled loose, but I fixed that issue. But other than that, throw a quick sharpen on the blades, and I'll show you the stump jumper and blades that we put on it. And as far as that goes, that's all I got. But while spinning around here, I think I actually have, right there. That's the original blade system that comes on these things. I'll drag that out here real quick. That's what comes on these, and it's not much of anything. Now, if you're just cutting grass, I guess it would be okay for that, but that is about it. As you can see, I already bent it up just a little bit. I used it. It bent the end of the blades up there. I don't know if you can see them or not, but yeah, they are not flat. So I realized pretty quick with the stuff I'm going to be using this thing on that those were just not going to cut it. So I ended up getting a hold of the guy that I deal with on all of my skid steer attachments. If you ever need anything, Rice Family Farms out of Mount Sterling, Ohio. They always have treated me right. A friend of mine, and they have just about anything you can think of. If they don't have it, they can get it. So he hooked me up with all the blades, Let me get this door shut real quick. Hook me up with the blades and stump jumper and the bolts and everything, and you can actually buy a lot of that stuff, the blades and the bolts and stuff, right from Tractor Supply. So if you ever needed anything in a pinch, you can just run right over to your local Tractor Supply and pick a new blade up or pick a new bolt up or whatever. And it's for a 6-foot woods bush hog. I could probably put the links of those parts down in the description somewhere. If you guys would be interested in that or in the comments, just give me a shout. So I'm going to get off here and watch this rain pass, and then I'll get back with you when we get the brush hog hooked up. Alright guys, finally the rain passed. Thank goodness. It was only about a 20-minute downpour. Made it just wet enough to make it good and muddy for me to get my attachments out. I've washed this thing twice now. I just do not like the mud. I try to keep stuff clean as I can. But anyway, here's my Wolverine brush hog. I bought this when I first started. I bought a couple other attachments when I bought this skid steer, thinking I'd just use it around the farm mostly, and it turns out I use it more than anything I have purchased yet as far as attachments for this thing. It's been a great machine so far. It's got a couple battle scars on it already, got a couple dings in the side, and did a little damage here. I don't remember what I hit. I think I had a concrete block or something that shoved the blade up in there. A couple little dents right here. The one main thing I am concerned about that I'm going to have to take care of is, which I know a lot of brush hogs do it, but you got these cracks on these seams here. It's happening on each side, and I would assume it's where you're backing in and out of stuff and catching it on roots and stumps and just about anything you can think of. But both sides are like that. I actually thought about changing things around on the back side of it a little bit. Maybe the biggest problem with this that I see is when you're cutting grass, the thing wants to ball up inside. You'll get grass so heavy and so thick that it'll just ball up in there, and you can't get it out of the front because it doesn't go back. There's nowhere for it to go back underneath the machine like it would on a regular brush hog, because you're pushing into it rather than having the open section on the back. So the only thing I've found to kind of help with that is if you keep the front of the brush hog angled up a little bit, it kind of wants to throw the clippings out one way or the other, and it'll kind of windrow it out one way. Now I have seen some newer style, more expensive machines where this section here is notched and there's chains in here. Unfortunately, I thought about it, but I don't think there's any way to do that the way this machine is made, or this attachment is made, just because of the way the quick attach is all put on there. So I think the main thing we're going to have to do is just weld those seams up, and other than that, it's been a great piece. I mean, for $3,000, you know, I don't know how much better quality you're going to get for $3,000. You know, obviously the JCT brand and the other brands that are similar to this, they work okay, but I've seen a lot of complaints, mainly the T-bar style blade system, which I did replace, and I'm going to show you in just a second. And the other problem was this shield right here. These things come with these chintzy little bolts. Mine, actually one of them was missing when I got it, so I try not to take that off much more than any more than I have to, because eventually I'm going to have to put some sort of drill and tap it for some different regular bolts. But the lines were nice. Everything had the flat face couplers on it. It worked out great. I did have to switch these two lines for the feed and the returns on my particular machine, mainly because that's just how it's plumbed up. Because of the way my toggle on my joystick works. If I left it the way it was, you would have had to hold the button for the duration of the time. So to lock the hydraulics on the auxiliary, I had to switch them over to get it to spin the right way. I think what I'll do is, I've already checked the gearbox and everything. It has the clog style gear drive system from the pump to the gearbox with the chain. I lube that up every once in a while, just like the chain on a baler or something. But so far that's held up pretty good. It's not like the JCT, the old style, that had the real crappy setup. So I'm going to get this thing up in the air and I'll show you the blade setup on it here real quick. Hang on. Alright, got you guys set up here. Got it up on its nose here, and here you can see the underneath of this thing. There's that little cut I had in there. I could only assume it was from a blade, got ran up in there or something from something. But here is the stump jumper. This was set up for a Woods 6-foot brush hog. I'm trying to get a little better angle on it for you. But right there it is. The blades, I do not remember what size those things are. I remember the pan was a 12 spline, and I want to say it was like 13.5 inches or so. I might be talking wrong. I'll have to look all that information up and put it on here, but 13.5 from center to center. The blades, I do not remember off the top of my head. I want to say they were close to 30 inches, 28 inches or something like that. Now the only issue I had, which I've talked to the guy that I get these attachments off of, the only issue I had when I put them on was the back side of this unit here has I guess it's really hard to see for you guys, but maybe you can see it a little better there. There's a brace, an angle iron brace right here on the inside of this back part where the mounting plate is, and what that is, it just kind of strengthens up this back piece here. You can see it's got a little bit of a bend here just from hitting stuff and things flying around under here, but my blades actually were hitting that tip of that angle, and basically what I did, I just trimmed the end of the blade off. You can actually, I believe, get shorter blades that will fit and clear, but when I needed it, and I was putting it together to use, so I ended up just cutting the end of it off with a grinder, cleaning it back up, and it was fine. But yeah, I've not had any troubles with it other than that. This is the nut kit. Actually, I think that was the original nut. But it comes with these nice big heavy bolts, and you can see great big nuts on the back side, not like that chintzy China crap that comes with it. So, but the main thing I had that was an issue when I first got it was these bolts right here that hold the gearbox on. I ended up losing one day. I had a real bad vibration, and I ended up losing one, and I didn't know it. And I was like, man, why is this thing vibrating so bad? Well, I decided to pick it up and take a look at it. Turns out I was missing some bolts, so I ended up getting some lock washers and lock nuts, and put a little bit of Loctite on them, and I've not had any trouble with it since. But I will throw the information up on the web, on the description for you, for this particular setup. I'll have to look it up and put it in the description, but that's pretty much it, man. Like I said, it's been a pretty decent brush hog. I've done some pretty thick clearings with it, and I would love to get into a mulching head eventually, but Right now I'm just, trying to get started and keep my equipment where I can keep using it and not have to buy new stuff all the time. But in the end, I would love to have a mulching head. I've been looking into the low flow type stuff because this is my machine and it is a standard flow machine. I do like this machine a lot. I really like this machine because it's a little bit older, but it was a good shape and it's pre-emissions and all that crap, and I don't have to worry about having any EGR problems or DPF problems or urea, fuel consumption, injectors, all kinds of stuff like that associated with the newer stuff. So with that all being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get these blades sharpened up and get everything ready for the weekend brush hogging job. So I'll catch you guys then. Job this weekend. Got a little bit of rain last night. Actually quite a bit of rain. Ended up getting into a little bit of a muddy spot, which there's like a, I guess it'd be like an alleyway, kind of like a finger for the driveway access back to the property. We wanted all of the brush cleared on both sides of the fence row. I had to clear that fence row, get it cleaned out, and just made a muddy mess. Luckily there's not really a gravel lot or gravel drive or anything like that. Mainly just mud, tractor path back to an old barn. So I got lucky there, but my machine is definitely gonna need a bath. But regardless, I'm not really going to talk much about the job. I really want to just do this because I want to show you guys how well this brush cutter works. There's some pretty thick stuff right now. I have not had any trouble with it yet today. I did get into some leftover hay bale twine and it got wrapped up in there. I had to cut that out. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. Just up on a little bit of a slope above the driveway. Follows a cemetery to the left, a fence row. I'm between the driveway and the cemetery, kind of getting as much of this hillside I can. Obviously, it's pretty wet, so I'm doing the best I can with this got this little section here knocked out. It got back in there about as far as I could get. I'm gonna go back through here and probably grind this up a little bit better. I was just trying to keep from sliding over the hill. It doesn't look like it, but it's got a little bit of quite a bit of a slope to it. And back there where that tree's at, there's big clusters that really tapers off right there. So that's as far back as I can get that way. And it's really slick out today with the rain. It didn't rain a lot, but it rained just enough to make it nice and slick on top. So I've been trying to keep myself out of any kind of pickles. Just washed this thing yesterday too, and it is nasty. I do not like getting it in mud like that. It's not good for undercarriage and final drives and stuff like that. But sometimes, you know, they are made for that, and sometimes it just happens. But what I'm getting at is this brush cutter does the job every time. Obviously it's not a mulcher, but it does a really good job for just a cheap brush hog. I mean, this isn't really something you'd want to do with a tractor, even if it was a smaller tractor, but clearly I believe it was worth the money. I would buy another one if I had to. Obviously in the future I'd love to have a low flow mulcher. I've been looking at the FAEs and you know, other ones like that. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but Penoff maybe, I can't remember. But anyways, that's in the future. But for right now, for this video, what do you guys think? Do you think it was worth it? I think it was. I mean, you can't beat that blade system. There's no way, there is absolutely no way you could do that with the factory blade that comes with it. No way. Obviously there's a couple nicks in them, that's why I wanted to sharpen them up, just give them a quick get the nicks out of them. But there's a couple new ones, mainly because if you look around, whoa, see, told you it was slick. But there is a barn back there. A little word of advice: the performer tells you there shouldn't be nothing in there. There might be one or two things and he'll point it out. But it's not that he's lying to you, it's just that he doesn't remember. And that's the case once again. There is shit everywhere. So I've hit blocks, pipe, got into fencing, woven wire, hay strings. I ended up having to cut the hay strings out of this thing. I mean, it was balled up in there, it wouldn't even spin. So yeah, back to the brush hog. I think it was worth it. Every penny. Every penny. I don't think I would want to buy anything less quality. Obviously I'm using it probably a little more aggressive than it's supposed to be used, but I really wanted to put it to the test, and I'm going to keep tabs with you guys and let you know how it holds up. You know, it might end up being a piece of junk, but I've got probably between 60 and 70 hours on it, and I do not have any complaints. So I'm probably going to get back at it. It's actually almost lunchtime. I'm going to put a little bit of Freon in my air conditioning in my machine. Had a brand new line, redid all the air conditioning this winter, compressor and all that stuff, but one of the brand new lines leaked, and it was not fun to put in. So I have to just carry a can of Freon with me every once in a while and give her a little shot. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here, and I will catch you guys next time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, whatever. It really does help. You know, I'm not out here to make the money on this YouTube thing. I just thought it would be really cool to, you know, kind of video the situations that I get in. But it really does help. Every view, every subscribe, every like, every comment, it does help grow the channel, and that's what I want to do. And I want to bring you guys stuff that, you know, this is something you don't see all the time. Something I searched for when I was getting into this business. So if you want to see more stuff like that, drop down in the comments, and don't forget,